actual fact, we have nothing to worry about. According to our research, the next emission will not occur for at least 2 months, 4 days, and 7 hours. Its intensity will be 3 on the Bergman scale, which is 2.1.
Stalker is one of my most favorite games of all time, and I've been hooked on it ever since I discovered this franchise a little over a year ago. And while I am what you would call a tourist, I still enjoy Stalker for what it is. It goes without saying that this franchise was one of the best in the field when it came to player immersion, and what Stalker lacks in graphics, it makes up for it in atmosphere. I've stated in my previous review for IWP that atmosphere is Stalker's bread and butter, so a mod's reception usually depends on the feeling of surroundings and the level of immersion. But how true is that statement? How atmospheric can Stalker get when you push the venerable X-ray engine to its limits? And, most importantly, is Clear Sky a bad game that deserves the hate it gets? Let's not waste time asking questions, but before we move on with the review, let's take a moment to talk about Clear Sky first. Nods, be my guest.
Stalker Clear Sky is the second installment of the current Stalker trilogy, which makes it the penultimate Stalker game and the direct sequel of Shadow of Chernobyl. We embark on our ominous adventure as a mercenary known as S.T.A.L.K.E.R, dragged by a patrol of stalkers to their base of Clear Sky faction after a big site mission happened in the swamps. The Clear Sky faction interests are rather studying the zone than abusing its wonders and very existence. As we, the main protagonist, Merc, will be tasked to defend Clear Sky swamps from renegade scum, as Lebedev described them, and eventually have to stop S.T.A.L.K.E.R's squad from reaching the center of the zone. I assume that most of you watching this video have played the original Clear Sky game, or at least familiar with it. If you are, that's great. You would know how much love, I mean hate, the game receives, and negative reviews that eventually intimidated Stalker fans from playing it, which unfortunately led to a considerable amount of people skipping the game altogether. Seeing Clear Sky getting this treatment and sense of abandonment honestly aches my heart, as I am quite fond of the game, its mechanics and character, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, vanilla Clear Sky is quite rough on some edges. The weapons mechanics are thrown right out of the window, guns seem weaker in terms of damage and control than in Shadow of Chernobyl or Call of Pripyat. Not to mention the abysmal weapon accuracy. Pair both of those elements together and you have a recipe for a disaster. Hot damn. I remember my first playthrough of Clear Sky being very slow, as my guns failed to hit my targets most of the time. It did way too little to no damage to my target, unless by random chance a headshot. But sometimes you may stumble upon the site of a bandit taking 5 headshots while wearing nothing but an old leather jacket. If I'm gonna say it from my personal point of view, it still genuinely haunts me till this day. Overall, while the combat was mediocre, you can still compensate for the inaccuracy and poor damage by using the upgrade system mechanics offered and loading better ammo into your gun. To put it short, Clear Sky isn't a bad game, but it is certainly the weakest in the trilogy, which is where the Last Fallout Overhaul comes into play. Vitias, now you're up.
Thanks partner, your help is appreciated. Hey, before we get to the part we've been waiting for, it would really make my day if you liked and subscribed. Thank you in advance. With all of that out of the way, let's finally talk about Last Fallout Overhaul and all the stuff it brings to the table. A good way to start is this mod's whole premise, atmosphere. Holy crap, the atmosphere. This mod overhauls the Clear Sky atmosphere in such a way that it's almost, if not entirely, unrecognizable. The usual bright sunny locations you are used to now look like they're straight out of Silent Hill 2, and what really sold it to me was this one particular screenshot from the mod page. The graphical output honestly blew my mind, and it's thanks to the advanced X-ray engine, and hence the name. It's an advanced version of the X-ray engine. with new features like screen space shaders, 3D scopes, and a lot of other graphics related to words that I do not understand. It also comes with fixes from the Sky Reclamation project pre-built into it. Aside from the graphics and atmosphere, LFO has major gameplay changes. The first thing you might notice is the overhaul damage profiles. I won't waste much time talking about it, but let me tell you. The gunplay in this mod is some of the best I've ever seen. Not just in Stalker mods, but in general. I kid you not, the damage and recoil were some of the smoothest I've seen. Everything works so perfectly well together. Sights are clear, recoil is controllable, and you don't need many bullets to drop your targets. In short, LFO's main selling point for me was the gunplay. That's pretty much the whole reason why I like it this much. LFO also introduces some hardcore gameplay features to Clear Sky, such as maintaining your hunger and thirst levels, batteries for devices, gas mask filters which act like batteries for your gas mask. If you've played Anomaly, you'd be familiar with these elements. There's a lot more to LFO than that, and if it wasn't for my tight schedule, I would have talked about everything in detail, so use this opportunity to download and experience it for yourself. Believe me, it is worth it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, however, as there are quite a few bugs. Some of them are as trivial as stuttering when opening inventories, but some are actually game-breaking, like NPCs downright refusing to capture some points, which essentially makes it impossible to use the faction war system. And this was my biggest gripe with LFO. The gunplay is amazing, but loses its potential as you can't take over the bandit bases anymore, as killing bandits doesn't reward you with anything besides their loot. Sure, you can exterminate every bandit in garbage, but it's not as rewarding as taking over their POIs and claiming them for your faction. I've had this problem for the entirety of my LFO playthrough, where I couldn't even capture the paths leading to the garbage, as none of the loners were heading to the points I cleared from bandits. Oh, and let's not forget that pressing F5 is literally gambling all your progress, as your game can and will crash, with its chances rising every time you quick save. Your progress will be lost if luck isn't on your side and your game just so happens to crash. Despite all of its shortcomings, LFO has really won me, and I can confidently say that it's in my top 3 mods of all time. Oh, also, did I mention that LFO has free play? Yes, when you beat the game, you can still walk around the world and keep playing, just like in Shadow of Chernobyl. And if you're going to walk around the world, you probably might want to check the new locations. Yes, you heard me right. This mod adds new locations to the Clear Sky world. We're talking Call of Chernobyl levels. You got Darkscape, Truck Cemetery, Rostock, and even freaking Call of Pripyat levels. Walking around the outskirts of Pripyat with its new look courtesy of the enhanced engine was such a surreal experience. To conclude this review, I want to say that LFO was a breath of fresh air for me. It was a really neat experience and a change of pace from the other mods I've been playing. This mod really did Clear Sky justice. It took the already fun Clear Sky experience and expanded on it, and if it wasn't for the stuttering, crashes, and bugs that constantly interfere in the worst moments, this might actually be my most favorite mod of all time. I don't blame the creator though, as they clearly stated that this mod is still in beta, but it's still receiving updates, so maybe one day it will be complete. Whether you play Stalker for its gunplay, atmosphere, or both, Last Fallout Overhaul is sure to hit the spot, as it offers the best of both worlds. It pushes the boundaries of what's possible with its graphical capabilities and adds a new layer of depth to the basic Clear Sky formula. And until the mod is as stable as it can be, my most favorite mod of all time is still gonna be Call of the Zone. And if for some reason you still haven't tried it yet, you can wait for my review for it in the next session. If you've made it here, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I deeply apologize for this delay. This video would have been out way earlier than it should have been. But oh well, better late than never, eh? Before I forget, thank you all for your support on my IWP review. I have never experienced such a form of success like that before, and if you want to see more good stuff, consider supporting me by liking and subscribing. Your support will be forever imprinted in my heart. This has been Captain Vityaz, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.